Happening now, an important meeting on how Georgia is going to provide power to its growing supply of data centers.
The Public Service Commission is set to vote soon on whether Georgia Power can massively increase its power capacity, which could impact your utility bills. Atlanta News First Imani Watson is live in downtown Atlanta with more on what's going on during the meeting.
Yeah, right now, the Public Service Commission is hearing from residents, businesses, and organizations before voting on the plan. And so far, there have been mixed feelings about it. Now, if approved by the Public Service Commission, Georgia Power will be allowed to generate 10 gigawatts of new electricity to serve the state's rapidly growing data center industry. Under a stipulated agreement, Georgia Power says it will take on any financial risk from the plan. Georgia Power also says the projected revenue from data center energy usage will actually save customers roughly $9 a month between 2029 and 2031. Still, some people say there needs to be more transparency and protections in place for customers. So far, we've heard from those both for and against the plan.
I highly recommend y'all think about what this means for our communities, right? We have seen the research that data centers are not good for our communities. And if we're being very transparent, it's going to affect people who look like me. It's going to affect people who are poor, people who are at a disadvantage.
The truth is the future of our economy and even the health of our democracy, I would argue, runs on data centers and artificial intelligence. And someone's data centers will power that in the future.
Now, commissioners are expected to vote after the public comment section. Of course, we'll keep you updated on what happens. Live in downtown Atlanta, I'm Imani Watson, Atlanta News First.